When we done, just stop it. I do want you to right things in here and get some more closer shots. Hey, what's my pictures? So you don't need to worry about pictures. This video. Devon. Yeah. I'm sure he's probably finding a parking space, but he'll take care of pictures. Drinks are ready. So that's how we go. Get some drinks. It's recording on live on YouTube and I'm just excited. Hey guys, we are live. We are going ahead and letting you see everything behind the scenes, and the whole entire event is open house, give it to the people night, and I hope you enjoy a little extra something. Okay, keep watching.
Test, test. Hello. Sorry, I put it there. Yeah. just not the you know, and that's I use my business page to follow you. I'm not great about social media, so I do a part.
All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, y'all acting like you didn't get food and drinks. Good evening, everyone. Just because we have a small crowd doesn't mean that you don't respond accordingly, right? So I want to say thank you guys so much for coming out this evening. We're working out a small little microphone situation because we want to make sure, of course, since we're recording live, that everybody is able to be heard this evening. And how many of you, raise your hand, this is your first time coming out to this location? Okay, so most everybody here. The great thing about this location is it opened in October last year, and I don't know what happened back there. That was Julia, who I was getting ready to say. And so if you do want to have an event here, Julia, with this beautiful dress, is the person that you will see to be able to host your own events here. Our goal is to make sure that we can support things that are in our local ecosystem throughout the state, and that is what we're doing this evening. And I get to introduce somebody that has become one of my good buddies. He's actually like my brother, but he's not, but he is. They're so similar, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to bring up one of my buddies who, from when he first started, I knew I was going to love him, and I do. So put your hands together for Jonathan Collins.
Thank you, Chisa. The similarities extend to the point where she even threw up a flyer where she put her brother's name instead of mine on the flyer for this event. I had to catch that. Anyway, thank you all, everyone, for being here. Tonight, the SBC at Durham Tech, we really wanted to invite people into the space to let them know that we do have a presence here now. A lot of the time, people think of Durham Tech as the Community College of Durham, but we do serve Orange County as well. So having this home base here in downtown Chapel Hill, in the heart of all of the economic activity in Orange County, we're really thrilled to be here and hope that this is going to be a new chapter for not just the SBC, but for Durham Tech as well. We're going to start hosting some more programs over here. And we're just really excited to be a part of this collaboration. I also want to call out NC Idea, who was a sponsor for this event. They helped us with the wonderful food and beverage, as well as the North Carolina Hispanic American Chamber of Commerce. They also contributed, so we are very thankful for those relationships and for their support in putting on events like this. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about the SBC, backing up, not all of you may be familiar with the SBC. So the Small Business Center at Durham Tech, we offer free confidential counseling for aspiring and existing entrepreneurs in Durham and Orange counties. We are part of a statewide network of small business centers. Every community college in North Carolina has one. And all of us have the same mission, which is to help our local business community start, grow, and sustain their businesses. So we'll do different events like this. We do that one-on-one counseling, so we can really roll up our sleeves and get down to the work that needs to be done. That confidentiality piece allows us to really get to the heart of the issue, so that you as the client can really feel open and give us the information that we need to be able to help you in return. We help connect to great resources out in our community. If you need access to some financial advising or attorneys, Antonia is here, one of our go-to bookkeeping service providers, and she does some great classes for us as well. Thanks for coming. Latasha Vasgati, who you're going to hear from on the panel here, also a great advisor and partner to our center. So we really appreciate everyone that is part of our community and really do whatever we can to make sure that our local businesses get the support that they need. So yeah, with that, I will bring up Cheryl Waddell to talk a little bit more about Innovate Carolina and the Junction.
Thank you so much. So sorry, I think Dr. Carter, our Vice Chancellor, was supposed to be here and we had a conflict. So yeah, me. Sorry. But first, welcome to the Junction. And thank you so much for allowing us to host you all here. The Junction is an innovation space But really what we want it to be is a space where community gather, collaborate, and work together to have an impact. We have 20,000 square feet, and I'll point to Julia, who you have already introduced, but if you want a tour to see the space or anything, you're welcome to kind of walk around. But more important than this, kind of amazingly beautiful area is the community and the work that's being done here by Jonathan and his team, by Alex and his team at launch. There are a lot of support services that are offered here that people don't know about, and that we're really trying to make inroads. We are across the street and run through the university. And that's a good and bad thing. One, it's good because we can offer these great services. It's a state organization, but people don't know that we are here for the community. And they think we're here for the students. They think we're here for the faculty. So we're so excited to have groups like you all come here so you can help us spread the word. But that's what we are here for. Little bit about Innovate Carolina. First, we've been here for 6 months. We've established some really significant partnerships. Durham Tech is one of them. And we started talking to JD about 6 to 8 months before that. We look to have Durham Tech have a presence here, to have other people within the community know that they're not just Durham, but Orange County as well. And we are currently establishing a working group. The chancellor of UNC and the president of Durham Tech have established a working group so we can continue to identify things they're doing, things we're doing, that we can work together to have that much more of an impact. And so that's what we're looking at as far as partnerships. Every time a partner comes and then brings another partner here, we learn something and then we expand, we grow that community. And that's really what I'm most excited about. This is actually, I think, one of the first times that we've had a partner of ours bring another partner, so that we're like that one step further into the community that we really want to be a part of. And besides that, these drinks, that's all. Fall on my chair. I've already gone over to Julia, and I was like, okay, so our next event, cocktails out on the terrace. Yeah, you haven't been there yet. Cocktails at the terrace.
Okay. I wanted to be on the terrace, but it was the weather.
Exactly. And the next time around, the terrace. So again, thank you so much for coming. We're really excited to have you and host you here. We want you to be a part of the community and spread the word. So thank you again.
All right. Oh, I'm saying all right into the microphone.
That's not a microphone. All right, so now that we've had some lovely introductions, I'm going to introduce you to our executive assistant. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Tammy. Tammy comes to all of our events. She makes sure that people are excited, ignited, empowered, engaged, all of the rest of that. And sometimes, we forget to introduce her and she gets a little attitude. So we always want to make sure that she has her own space and her own introduction. So Tammy, say hello to the people. Okay, so she's good. All right, now, next on our agenda, I wanted to make sure, and Jonathan did a little precursor, but the great thing about NC Idea is that they don't just sponsor just the event. They also do workshops that will help you to learn how to get sponsorship. They also do have a grant program. And if you are a Black-owned business right now, they do have a grant program that you can apply for that is up to $50,000. So my suggestion would be that you go to their website, ncidea.org, and if you do have a project-based type of thing that you're interested in doing, they do 2 different grant funding rounds per year. One is like a smaller grant that's around $10,000. Then the next one is like one for growth, which is $50,000. So throughout the course of the year, you have those 2 major opportunities. But if you're also looking for events that focus on entrepreneurship and growing our ecosystem, then they do have smaller grants that you can get in order to be able to enhance whatever it is that you're doing throughout the course of the year, and you can apply for those. Now, we always like to partner, and that to me is really where the strength of what we do and give it to the people is, because we recognize that this type of work You can try to do it by yourself, but it's so much better if you have friends that go along with it. And I think that just having those partnerships and those allies in the community are things that definitely help to build business. So I would strongly suggest that you check out NC Idea. They also do have a program that is an Ice House entrepreneurship program. And raise your hand if you're a certified Ice House trainer. Okay, so we have some certified trainers in the building. And so that means that their training, we get to go around wherever. You can do it online, but you can also do it anywhere in the state and help other people become more entrepreneurial. So I'm saying that very specifically because it's not telling you how to start a business, but it's telling you how to think about being more entrepreneurial in the way that you approach things. And so there's curriculums that you can even do for the kids. If you want to go into the corporate space, you can do that. And they have these types of trainings throughout the course of the year. So I would strongly suggest that you check those out as well, because that is something that can be a catalyst for your business. Now, who had a drink tonight? Okay, do we need to get Tammy out? Drinks are amazing. Disha, can we get you to just pop your head out really quickly? All right, so this is Disha. And let me tell you something. So when we talk about partnerships, I actually met her, what, 2-3 years ago now? It was a while. Mel had her Brown Girls Brunch, right? And we were sitting at opposite tables, but all on the end. And we just ended up staying to the end and just having a conversation. And I knew then, when she said what she did with the mobile bartending, I was like, well, eventually, I'm going to hire you to do something, okay? And it was a couple years later, we moved up here. And then I said, this is a perfect opportunity to hire a woman-owned business, a small business, a Black-owned business, and make sure that this way we take our funds and we reinvest into the community. So just tell them a little bit about your business program.
Good afternoon, or is it, yeah, good evening. Good evening now. My name is Aisha Banner. I am owner and founder of A Glass Above. So we are a mobile mixology and bartending service. So we do all things beverage catering for all of your event needs. So whether that is a private event with family or a public event, corporate event, we also do classes where we kind of put you in the driver's seat and let you drive a little bit, but we guide you so you're not on by yourself. But we do classes as well. But our goal is to absolutely create a beverage experience that you won't forget. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that tonight. So we have 3 options tonight, and thank you guys for having me.
All right, and also to keep that going, Mr. Carson, do you want to come up really quickly? Okay, so our photographer for the evening, and we just want to let you know this is part of the sponsorship with NC Idea, so investing into these businesses. Give them a little bit about DC photography.
Awesome. First and foremost, go Heels, right? They just won. Up with DC Photography, I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Brown here and just trying to document events and just making sure whatever you're creating, whatever service you provide, that you have a way to tell your story. And I like to do it visually. So if you're looking for a photography service or video services, please don't hesitate to pull me aside and let's have a conversation. I would love to partner with you. I have a small Black-owned veteran business. So help me out. I just left my job of being an educator for 23 years. So we're real brand new. So help a brother out. All right.
And I love that, and that's one of the things that we definitely want to do. So we're going to parlay ourselves into our panel. So if I can get you to come up, introduce yourself, choose your chair, and okay, all right, and come on up, introduce yourself, and we're going to jump right into our panel. That's you. I just want to make sure. She doesn't see herself. I was like, oh look, did you change? Okay, there you go. I was about to say I'm naturally loud, but we want the things to pick it up too. Hello.
All right. Hey everyone, my name is Kenyatta. Let's see where my story begins, right? So I work in software, so I'm a product leader. My company is called the Catalyst HQ. So we do end-to-end software development solutions. We also focus on business strategy. So helping you build the best sustainable business as well as building the best sustainable products, right? Specifically in software. I also have a learning and development company called Agile Product Dojo. I just launched that this year. And we're focused on getting more people into product management, specifically mid-career professionals who are ready to transition because they have the leadership skills. They just don't know the industry. That we can teach you. And last but not least, I am a professor over at UNC. My students right here just came right on out. All right, and I teach brand for social impact. I work in the Chisa program, the entrepreneurship program over in the School of Economics. It's the only entrepreneurship minor on campus, and I get an opportunity to teach the new generation, so that's super exciting. Otherwise than that, those are things that I do, but it's not who I am. I'm a dog mom, have a 12-year-old Chihuahua, long hair. He's not yappy, he just wants to be loved. I'm a foodie at heart. Anybody want to know that? Just ask me for a restaurant and I got you. Okay, and I love to be around people and love to have great conversations about anything. That's me in a nutshell.
All right, okay, get a seat, whichever one you want. Okay, and next is Cherith Robertson. Cherith, come on up.
Okay, I missed the instructions, so I introduce myself?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Chisa Robertson. I feel like I don't need this.
No, you need it because we're recording.
Okay, okay. It's nice to see everyone, see some familiar faces. I just recently launched my own business. I wrote the Guided Small Business Planner. I've got some samples over here and some for sale. It's a step-by-step guide that walks small business owners through the process of starting and growing their business. So I'm really excited to be here tonight. Additionally, I ran the Wake Tech Small Business Center for 5 years before I did this. So that really gave me the insight perspective into what small business owners have questions about, where their challenges are, so that I could create a guide that really responded to those questions and concerns. And what did you say, Janetta? Is it what you do, not who? Okay, so I'm a mom of 2, and I have a almost 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. I have a 13-year-old boxer pit mix. She's an old lady. She can't hear anymore, but she lets us know she's around. And I live in Apex. And I graduated from NC State, so representing that tonight.
We love it anyway. Well, I went to Elon, so none of this matters to me. We love everybody, so you know, get on in with it. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. So I am Latasha Vescati. I am the owner and chief strategist of Infinity Bridges, where we do 3 primary things. We focus on building wealth through entrepreneurship, and we do that by business training, business counseling, and entrepreneurship ecosystem building. And I do that by working with community colleges, working with nonprofit organizations, specifically nonprofits with CDFIs, also working with government and local municipalities, as well as direct business owners. And so prior to that, I worked for the Small Business and Technology Development Center, as well as the National Institute for Minority Economic Development. And that's not who I am. I love that. So I am a mom of 2 young adult entrepreneurs, 21 and 17, and I have no pets. I am a lover of wine and all things fruity, and I love to travel. So, All right, well, I guess I'm gonna continue that trend as we keep going. So I skipped over our slide, just because of location. So I am Chisa Brown, and our company is given to the people. We say that we do mental wealth, which is getting your mind right and your money right. And we like to make sure that the events that we do specifically focus on curated conferences throughout the state of North Carolina, but also business development and professional development training. I think that there is an imbalance that people need to embrace, and they need to figure out what to focus on. So when you look over there, feel free to make a purchase. Do not just pick up and try to take away. There's books over there, $19.99. And the book is called The 90-Day Focus, Your Action Plan for Success. So when I wrote that, she's 8 years old this year. My concept of it was for you to be able to kind of get out of your own way by being able to prioritize what made the most amount of sense to you. and do it in 90-day increments so that this way you didn't have to think too far in the future. You could have something that was tangible and something that you can see effects on more immediately. And so that's one of the things that this year we wanted to make sure was a focus of the business, because I think as you do business, specifically once you get past year 1, 2, and 3, what you do is you get to a point where you sometimes forget the things that you've already done and the things that you've accomplished, and those are the things that got you where you're at. And so, you know, it was kind of like, at first, yeah, let's go ahead, let's put the book out, you know, and then it was like, okay, all right, it's out. We accomplished that goal is done. But then it was one of those things where I felt like we needed to make sure that it was reemphasized, because I think that it's specifically in this time period after COVID, people had to understand that they needed to prioritize themselves. And so as business owners, and specifically right now, since we're focusing on Women's History Month, I definitely wanted to bring together some dynamic women with this. And so I'm going to introduce them, but I will say I am not just that. I'm also a lovely, marvelous wife to a super dope husband that's up there. So he's up there doing his, you know, dope husband things. Wave to the people, Mr. Brown. Okay, all right, so we'll speak a little bit later on, but just something really quick. And I think that that dynamic between us is probably one of the most rewarding things that I probably had in life. And then a lot of it is because we're very opposite on a lot of things, but the things that we agree on are the things that I think are the most foundational things to a business relationship, which is prioritizing time. And that means with us as individuals, but also us as a couple and us as business people. And doing events like this is one of those things that you don't even understand. I get so excited, so super happy. It's like, I can't even contain myself, because I love doing things like this that bring people together. And so with this being Women's History Month, I said, let me find people that I think people can identify with, but that also have very diverse backgrounds. And so the first question that I want to start out with this evening, everybody, and I'll start out with Cherith, is what even made you decide to be an entrepreneur in the first place? Because it is, I don't want to say that it's easier. I'll give her that one to Cheryl. I don't want to say that it's easier to stay in a job, but it is in a way, because you know that you have an income and you know that every week, 2 weeks, or month that you're going to get paid. But that is not the same thing once entrepreneurship comes, right? Who has money that somebody owes them right now? Anybody? Okay, all right, raise your hand. Thank you. And so it's one of those things, you know it's coming, right? But it's a scary thing to be an entrepreneur. So what made you even go on this entrepreneurial journey?
Ooh, how long do I have? Okay. I love entrepreneurship for a long time. I actually graduated with a concentration in entrepreneurship from the Full College of Management. And so I knew that I wanted to do it. When I was in college, I actually had my first jump into entrepreneurship. I house flipped with a mentor and learned really quickly that that was not what I wanted to do. I know that's like a 180. But I learned from that experience a lot about doing business the way that I would not want to do business. So I had some really good lessons learned there. And from there, I went on to have several more traditional jobs. I say more traditional. I worked in a nonprofit, and then I started my second business after working at UNC for several years. And throughout that whole time, my husband is also an entrepreneur, and he's been very fortunate in that when he was in college, he started his business and has never had a traditional job. So I had that entrepreneur right beside me the whole time, growing a business and going through the process of having businesses fail and restarting and starting a new business. And he's now on his third business over the course of the time that we've been together. So I've ridden that journey, seen the highs and the lows, and it's so good. I love it. So I went from working at UNC to starting my own business. I was connecting farmers and food makers. I love food too. And always knew that I still wanted to start another business. I just wasn't sure what it should be. And throughout the process of working with small business owners at Wake Tech, I started to have this idea of the product that I created, but it took a long time for it to go from idea to something that I felt was a viable product. And then when I felt like I have a viable, You know what? Here we go, connected? Okay. I forgot what it was.
After you realize that about.
Yes, after I realized I had a viable product, thank you, that's when I decided to take the plunge again. So it's scary, but I think that the one thing I've learned about a lot of small business owners is that when you know that you have something to give back to the community, it's very hard to say no to that. And when you have something that you know can.
I think these microphones are our nemesis. We have an event last week.
Hey, everybody, talk amongst yourself.
So you're in school.
I mean, they're pretty. Just keep them in my top.
I think we're back in business. All right, sorry, back to business. We're back. Just FYI, I have a whole nother mic and system and everything, just in case. I don't play games, okay? So I have speakers, extra microphones, but we're gonna keep it going.
She is. Girl, you might give her a piece of plastic, a rubber band at the fire. She would have. Right? Exactly. Right. All right, so the question was how I got started entrepreneurship. How I got started entrepreneurship was I lost my job during the pandemic. They downsized. But here's the thing though. I had already planned that I wasn't going to be working for a job, right? So I had been praying to God to help me be uncomfortable, not to find me something else, but to be uncomfortable with what was going to happen next and be okay to be uncomfortable with what was happening next. So that's how I ended up in entrepreneurship. Prior to that though, pretty much I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't really know how to execute on that. I was still trying to figure out how to define success for myself. And I thought it was that traditional pathway. Although the fact that I never spent longer than 2.5 years at a job was a clear indication that that may or may not have been on that way, right? You know, so over time, my dad, I was still going to start my business, and he was like, but then I would cry. I would cry all when I felt like I wasn't moving up in my job and things like that. And he was like, what you crying for? You don't even want to do that. You don't even want to move up. So what are you crying for? Take notes about things you don't like. and then keep those notes and leave your job every 2 years or every year and a half, because when you're not growing, you're dying when you go. Because your job is not to stay there anyway, it's to do what you can move on. And so unbeknownst to me, I must have took that to heart, because like I said, I never stayed at a job more than 2.5 years, and the last job I had, I was there for 3.9 years, obviously way too long, considering my track record, right? So then I moved into entrepreneurship, and I've been here ever since. What I realized and what I've been learning is understanding flow, right, in the space of entrepreneurship, and understanding how I can move in and out of the corporate space, how I can also work in the space of entrepreneurship and find that it actually works for me in that way, right? The great thing about entrepreneurship is your ability to choose your own path when you feel like choosing your own path. I think people really don't understand and value the power is in the pivot. You don't have to stay if that's what you don't want to do. There's no obligation there, right? And so that's afforded me freedom, and freedom gave me power. And I don't think that I felt that type of freedom until I moved into entrepreneurship and started having to make decisions, because you kill what you eat in entrepreneurship. So until I felt that, I truly started to understand that space, then, you know, that's how I began to fall in love with that. Second to that, one thing that really set me on a path in entrepreneurship is really when I defined what that success looked like for me. I think I had let society and everybody around me define it for so long that that's the track I was on, and it wasn't me. And so being able to, getting started really was saying to myself, you're not going to be in this space for long. Be okay with that. And define what it looks like for you, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be done.
All right, so guess what? I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Now, how many of you in here, when you were little, you either babysit someone for money? So that was my first kind of entrepreneur journey. And I realized that I could do things to generate money. I didn't really call it entrepreneurship at the time, but it was my business. And so I had a lot of businesses along the journey. So I would consider probably myself a serial entrepreneur. So now I had some businesses along this journey that went really well. And it started with babysitting. Where I lived, I would also put the neighbor kids or the little kids that were younger than me on the bus so their parents would be able to go to school. So that worked out really well. And then it also graduated to, how many people, women remember Mary Kay? So then that didn't go too well, just know, that didn't go too well. I was not that salesperson, but I did that for a while. So I did a lot of things up until, and in between that, and then along the way, what I did found was my true purpose. And in finding my purpose, you find what your true passion is. So of course, there's a lot of people who know that they want to work for themselves, and then they just kind of want to figure out what's the top 10 businesses that will generate X number of dollars. But when you don't have the purpose and the passion behind it, it really doesn't lead to those revenue generating kind of things. And so, and then fast forward to starting Infinity Bridges, that really came from similar to out of the pandemic. I was faced with an opportunity. I kind of look at it as an opportunity. Some people say you had a choice, but I looked at it as a great opportunity. And I chose that if I was going to bet on anybody else, might as well bet on me. And I went, all in on me and never looked back. There have been times where I've kind of been like, the bank account doesn't quite look like what I need it to look, so let me go and get this job. And then God has been like, I don't know why you're getting this job, and made it very uncomfortable. So I had to quit the job and just focus on the business. But I think that's when you realize that you're doing what you're supposed to do and not what you have to do. So when it's uncomfortable, when you're working something else and everything leads back to what you're really in line to do, that's when you're knowing that's what you're supposed to do. So I've had a lot of different entrepreneur journeys. I do come from a family that have kind of done that as well. And so I would say that's been in my DNA. And so it's been kind of within me. So I like that. Similar to Cherith, I kind of had that trying to flip it home and did like that. Our family does still have some property that we rent. I don't quite like it, but we manage that. So but that is still part of kind of the business aspect of what we do today. So I still have my hands in multiple business ventures still today. But Infinity Bridges is kind of the one that is my passion and my purpose. I love that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to actually keep these answers much shorter because nobody stayed in the 2-minute time frame. So based on that, we want to keep them. We're going to do a rapid fire type of thing. I had a whole bunch of questions. I just want you to know they got the questions in advance and they were like, you know what? I'm not going to do that 2 minutes. This one is History Month. I'm going to give y'all some history. Okay, so rapid fire. Cherith, I'm going to start with you. When you look at this, I might as well just share now. When you look at this, what strategies have you found most effective in building and nurturing professional relationships? And I think that's important since you just left and, and you're still using it. And I know that's some, the way that you're maneuvering now.
People are people first. And when I meet somebody, they're a person that I'm talking to. It's not what can I get from you. Anytime you meet someone, you can always tell if they want to know you for you or if they just want something from you. So when I meet people, I want to meet people first for who they are as individuals. If something comes out of that, lovely. If I just get to meet somebody and have a fun conversation, that's lovely too. And that's the way I approach it.
Love that. Kenyatta, for you, how do you stay innovative? And I wanted to use that with you because technology is your thing. So how do you stay innovative and ahead of the competition?
Oh, that's easy. Stick to the foundations. People get the foundations messed up, right? They try to jump ahead, do some marketing. Oh, I need somebody to see me. No, you need to do the foundational work, right? So you need to start, what's the vision? What's the mission? What's the goals? Breaking down where are you going to focus, right? Because there are 3 effective things that you're trying to do at all times, even when innovating. Is understand how to control your time, understand the level of effort, and understand how much energy you got to put forth to get to that goal. If you have not identified what those things are, then you're going to be all over the place, right? And you're going to be expending amounts of energy that are unnecessary, right? I think people think when we're in entrepreneurship, they automatically like, oh God, you're going to work 12, 13 hours a day and 80 hours a week and you love it. Yeah, no, it depends on the level of effort for the goal that you're trying to reach, right? Again, define what that looks like so that you understand what you need to put into it. So that's how I really say innovative is really understanding those 3 things.
I love that. All right, Latasha. Now, because I know that you are as what I would like, the word is overused or the phrase ecosystem builder, right? Because I don't know if y'all, how you get these buzzwords and it's like, okay, all right. So that's one of the things that's going around now. And I think that it's important when we talk about this, but how important is it for community support in sustaining a successful business? And I'm asking you that specifically because you did and dab in multiple communities. And I think that that's an important factor to not just stay in one area. Yeah, it's very important. So first and foremost, you got to remember that you've got to build a relationship. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So in order for people to know, like, and trust you, you've got to definitely be able to build that relationship with them. And then they've got to be able to know that you're going to deliver. And so you've got to be able to build that, I don't say ecosystem, but you've got to be able to build that network and that community. And there is a community of entrepreneur support organizations, there's a community of business owners, and so you've got to be able to build it so they know, be like,
oh man, you told me to do this and I did it and it worked, or you know what, what's the next thing I need to do, or who else should I be connecting to?
Okay, how many of you watch Abbott Elementary? Okay, so there was a scene in Abbott Elementary where the principal was talking to the teacher, okay, and she was saying, "You're that girl," right? And she was like, "I'm that lady. I am that woman." And she was like, "No, but it doesn't have the same ring as that girl." So I'm gonna go back down, but we'll start with Latasha and come back down. I consider each one of you like that girl, right? And so can you, oh, you feel love? Okay, oh, good. Oh, okay. All right, so with it, can you tell me how you're able to navigate? Because when people see you, or when they mention your name, good things are always coming out of their mouth, and that's for every one of you. So how do you navigate being that girl? What do you do to, what's your je ne sais quoi for being that girl? Okay, should I let somebody else go first? She's like, je ne sais quoi.
I don't think anybody's ever asked me that.
It's a different question. It wasn't even on here, see? You gotta flip it on you.
now you're deviating.
I'm deviating from the script. Okay, hit it. Come on, that girls.
What makes me that girl? One, they haven't seen me to get my head.
Come on.
You know, so sometimes you gotta walk into something. Everybody doesn't need to hear it, but you do need to walk into something to get it. Right?
Like DMX.
Yes. every
Okay.
single time.
DMX
Every single
first.
time.
Walk in and be like, X gonna give it to you. And then you,
All of a sudden, you know, you're doing a little bump. Okay. The number two, I'm 5'1", my personality is 6'2". You know that immediately when I walk around. Right? That's how big I am. That's how I feel. You couldn't tell me that but in my mind, really, when people say, "Oh my God, you're so small," I'm like, really? Wow, I don't feel that way. Right? So that's how I automatically walk into it. That's how I'm that girl. So just know I'm 6'2".
okay. All right, she got me. I love it. All right, so one, there is always a song or a theme or something that's always kind of ringing in the back of my head. I've got a lot. Some days it's Mary J, some days it may be, you know, a good rap song. So it's just, it can range. Two, I always kind of just think about, there's also this thing of, you don't know what I've kind of been through, right? So there's always this thing of, there's this history of stuff that I may have gone through. So to wherever I'm at, I'm gonna always walk in it, because it's just like, man, I done conquered so much back here that today, oh, I'm gonna celebrate this, right? And then third thing I think about is the fact that where we are in society, and that I can celebrate as women and as a Black woman to be able to own something without a man, to be able to kind of stand and you know, like 30, you know, well, what, probably longer than that, 100 years ago, we couldn't do all these things. And so to be able to kind of do that, I think that's what kind of keeps me and says, oh yeah, I'm that girl.
Yeah, these are too hard. These are hard to follow. My parents made me the person in charge by having me first and having 11 kids after me.
Wow.
So that kind of, I guess, made me I always had little ones following in my footsteps. So I was born to walk into a space, I guess, the way that you said, and know that I can talk to people and meet with people and hopefully have some value to bring. So I guess I can give a shout out to my parents. When I was a kid, I didn't always love it, but it definitely taught me a lot of valuable skills. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I think for me, with that one, I've always been a person that was always raised with confidence. And so I don't, I don't ever look at people as like direct competition. Like I think they think that they're competition. But I have this phrase for this year, which is petty business. Have y'all heard about petty business? Okay, Sierra, you know about petty business. She knows. We talked about petty business to bring it into this year. So petty business for me was, listen, I can't make it to that. I'm busy, but I am. I'm busy focusing on myself, right? And so I didn't need to take this time to try to, let's just say, has everybody seen the thing with Amanda Seals that she put out recently, where she was talking about how she wasn't invited to the BET Awards and all the rest of that? And I listened to that, and my husband said that we're very similar, and I have things about her that I like. And then there's some things I'm like, certain things that I wouldn't do that way, right? But I thought about it, and I'm just like, you know what? That happens to me too, right? Like you feel like maybe sometimes people should invite you to some stuff because of your accolades, your achievements, who you are, who you're connected to, and then they don't. And I'm just like, thank you so much for not inviting me. I have so many other things to do. And so it's just kind of one of those things where you can recognize it. And do you think that maybe they don't invite you because you're that girl? Like that might actually be it. And so I wanted to make sure that this way, sometime in tonight, we had something that kind of empowers you as women. Because when we talk about just the struggles of just everyday living, right? And then we look at the confidence that I think we need to have to be a person every day, and then also to carry the weight of a whole lot of other things on our back. It's an important thing for us to have that confidence in us and in the people that we surround ourselves with. And so I love being around other people that are winning, right? Like I love when I see you guys post online, that hypes me up. And I just want you to know, when you post online and tell people about your accomplishments, your achievements, who you're with, there's some people that are mad, right? Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Keep posting. Okay, so now this is a fun question that I did give them, and I was coming up with something kind of interesting. So if we had an entrepreneurial periodic table, okay, they were sent this, what element would you put on that entrepreneurial periodic table? Like this is something that people need. What's the element? Give it to them. Come on. All right, so my element would have been the funding element. So we need funding. Okay, funding.
Well, I guess I can't use that one. All right, process. I will put that on there. The reason I say process is because people do a lot of work that they could actually automate or delegate. So understanding process, because business is about process. Once you start the business, it becomes about management. And I think people don't fully understand what that is, right? And so they don't lean into it enough to understand in order to be sustainable, to grow and to scale, and to know what space you're in, you need to have process in place. You need to create a system.
Love that. Okay.
Not to some of mine, but I have another one on the entrepreneurial mindset. So you talked about this a little bit earlier, Chisa, but knowing that I am in the driver's seat and I get to decide how I'm going to react or respond when challenges come my way, that's up to me, that's on me.
Yes. Okay, my element would be focus, because I feel like people can be all over the place all the time. And when people typically come to me, what they need is, it's not that they don't know what they want to do. It's not that they're not experienced. It's not that they don't know their product or their service. They need clarity. They need to figure out a direction. And sometimes where you thought you were going, no, you're going somewhere totally different, right? And then that's when life throws in a plot twist. So for me, it is focus. And, there was a time when people were talking about, you just need to focus on one thing, because Tyler Perry was talking about, just focus on one thing. And I was just like, Tyler, one thing's not making enough money for me to focus on one thing, right? Like, thank you, Tyler Perry. But that's not going to work for everybody. But what I can say is, once you do start to focus on one thing, that becomes the thing that consumes you and allows you to be able to make way for other things in your life that then yield the results. But just understand that it may take a little bit of time. And so once we start focusing and saying we intentionally do want to do something, then that element starts to pull in all the other things that you're talking about, because it allows us to be able to look at our entrepreneurial mindset and see what we're doing. It allows us to be able to kind of focus on where's the money coming from, and we need to have a process in place in order to get to the money. All right. So if you have one piece of advice for everybody that's in this room whether they're aspiring entrepreneurs or whether they are seasoned entrepreneurs, what would that piece of advice be going into this next quarter? Because I want you to realize, raise your hand if you realize March is almost over. Oh, okay, thank you, right? Did the place this time come in and take your life away? It did, right? That hour. So that hour that we skipped ahead, it's like, okay, it's April, it's almost Easter. Y'all know Easter's next week, right? Get your bunnies out. All right, so tell them, like you have one piece of advice going into this next quarter. What should they do?
You look like you're ready.
You look prepared, you look moisturized. All right, what they're thinking, what they're thinking, and before the mic goes out. So here's my tip that I always say: don't suffer in business silence. Okay, and there's so many resources out here. I mean, so that's the one thing. So if you don't know, if you are just like, man, I hit a brick wall, I hit whatever in your business, I lost focus, I lost whatever, just reach out to somebody. Even today, I did. My accountability partner, I just had a whole moment. I supposed to have been at a conference. I didn't even show up to the conference. And then I called her. And I was just like, I just turned. So don't suffer in business silence. That's my one tip. Reach out to somebody that you know that can just be like, you got this.
Love that. Now, before you pass the mic, I want you to tell them about what is getting ready to come up.
Oh, I got a lot of good stuff.
No, just one. Just give one thing.
My one thing that is, that's part of my, all right, let me just pull it away. My one thing that's getting ready to come up is I'm doing a project with the town of Carborough called Boost Carborough. So please, if you're a business located in Carborough, trying to do business in Carborough, it's gonna be some business roundtable resources as well as a business cohort. So Boost Carborough. All right, coming up soon.
It's my turn, I'm ready now. Thank you. Two things, ownership. Not just owning your business, owning your mistakes, owning your own voice, and owning the process, right? And because within ownership is freedom, right? I think people forget how much freedom is found in owning up to things, because you can do something about it, right? You can, it's yours, right? So own it. The second thing is investment in yourself and be willing to pay for it. Oftentimes, and me and Chisa have these conversations consistently, people want things for free. Knowledge is not free. Time is not free. Be willing to invest in people who have what you don't have. And it's okay that they charge for that. Be willing to pay for that. Okay? And no, all return on investment is not money. Okay? Millionaires will go spend $40,000 on a mentorship, not because they're getting return on investment of money, because they're getting return on knowledge they didn't have before. Right? And so people need to be more willing to own what they don't know, own their voice, own their business, and invest in themselves accordingly. You are the biggest investment you will ever make, and you need to always start making investment yourself. Doesn't matter what everybody else has told you about what dating looks like. They don't need it.
Love that. Now, Kenyatta's gonna have her own little space somewhere in this room where you can talk to her, because she goes over her time frame. And we wanna stay in our time frame. So feel free to talk to Kenyatta. Once we get to our networking conference. Look, I feel like I was in, I'm just trying to say, I love everybody that's on this building. Y'all don't even understand. Listen, I need you to understand something about Cherith though. Cherith has helped me get plenty of money, okay? When Cherith was the director at Wake Tech, yes. I was like, you need me to come with? Yeah, I'll be there. And so I just wanted to make sure that we do a reinvestment back into people's business as well. Okay, so Cherith, what's yours?
You do give it to the people.
Yay.
Okay, mine is something I'm personally working on and have been remind myself of on almost a daily basis, and that is consistently showing up and forgiving myself when I know that I can be better and I'm still learning. specifically when it comes to marketing. So I know what it takes to run a business, but you have to be so good at all the pieces of marketing. So if I can get 1% better every day or every week, I'm incrementally improving my process and my marketing. And so that's what I'm sticking with, is consistency and just that 1% better.
I love that. Now Charity, she has her guide over there on sale, so you can feel free to go ahead and make a purchase, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you something, all right? Because it's a marvelous event. Did you guys enjoy yourselves? Because you know I like to stay on time. It's 6:29, and we're supposed to be done with this part at 6:30, so you know I get real hyped up, right? I love to stay on time. So I'm gonna purchase one of Charity's books for you, so that this way somebody in the room, can get one of these flourishing growth. What's the whole thing, guys?
The Guided Small Business Planner.
The Guided Small Business Planner, okay? So the Guided Small Business Planner retails for?
$59.
Okay, so I'm about to give somebody $59, okay? I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's gonna be somebody in here, all right? And I think that that's a great investment in somebody's future. So if anybody not in business yet, but you're thinking about it, okay? Oh, you see the time? Come on, timer. No, that's all right. I love that. You don't even understand how excited I am about that. Okay, is there anybody who came the furthest? Where'd you come from? Where'd you come from? Oh, sorry. I mean, you go to school here. She's gonna get, because she came from Virginia. Jenny came from Virginia. So Jenny is gonna get that guy in the background. Okay? See, that's the connection. That means you went through the fire to get here. Because I don't know what time you left, but you know how the traffic is around here. All right, so everybody, I want you to, we like to stay on time. So I want to make sure that this way you have this last time to be able to network with everybody. I also want to make sure that you can ask some questions, okay? And so that's why we're slowing down. So if anybody wants to ask a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. I'm gonna bring the mic around. And then panelists, let's keep it real short with our answers, okay? Everybody. Okay, anybody? Oh, we got one.
Can you tell me the name of the school or that you said you teach at here?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all bring in any entrepreneurs and stuff like that, like talking and stuff like that? Okay, say less.
Anybody who's an entrepreneur would like to become a speaker in my class. Woo, please talk.
There you go. All right, anybody else? Questions? Okay.
Ask because there's so many people here. So I'm in healthcare. I actually have a small integrated holistic health practice, and I've just been challenged to find. I mean, I think that's a fairly specialized space, and you guys may not know, but if there's any, I don't know, places where you folks feel like folks know that sector that you were pointing to, I would love to hear.
What's your ask?
What's my ask? Well, I mean, I think branding in healthcare is a bit different. I mean, I think just kind of, yes, I'm selling a service, but you know, it's a little bit.
Are you doing like holistic medicine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a medical practice.
Okay.
And I just, yeah, again, I just feel like not everything is always translatable in terms of marketing or even in terms of the business model.
Almost.
Yeah.
Oh, there she started again.
Okay.
You're right. You know.
I have a guide for you,
Yes.
right over there,
Yes.
step by step. It will walk you through the process of finding customers and speaking to them. But yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, I'm not, yeah, I'm asking, you know. Okay.
Yeah, you may be, yes, stop talking.
No, I'm good.
Well, when you know exactly who your customers are in specific details, like on an intimate level, then you can start to design your marketing to speak directly to them. It gets tricky because if you think about large companies, they have huge resources to spend, 20, 30, 50,000 people sometimes just dedicated to marketing. So it's hard when you're one person, but when you know exactly who your customer is, your ideal customers, then you can start to design your marketing to speak directly to them.
Okay.
Remove the barrier of what you think people don't understand about your business. The reason you couldn't directly, that's why I asked you what was your ask. Because you weren't, I need to understand how much you think of your business. And what you told me was that I don't think people understand my business. That may not be true, you just don't know who they are, right? You don't know who that target market directly is for them to understand your business, right? So just be
That's
comfortable.
part of it, yeah. I have a little bit of a complicated business model because there's a lot of different things that I do. And so I think kind of having somebody who's in the healthcare space, at least to kind of help me distill that.
Yeah, you just gotta figure out how to articulate your value.
The problem you're solving for your customers.
Well, no, okay, thank you. Well, I'm gonna just say it real quick since Chisa said be quick, but, so I work with a, physician that doesn't take any insurance, that doesn't, subscribe to any of the carriers and all of that. Hers is kind of membership based. She created her whole model. I helped her do all of that, and she's doing well. And she created a whole model for entrepreneurs, people who wanna, and she takes time, she just broke the model and then created her own thing. And so I think what you've gotta do is kind of figure out how to maybe market and maybe even, she's really good, so maybe even connect with her to just kind of have some of like how she maybe connects to who her real customer is. But that's what I was gonna say to encourage you.
Okay, love that, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, hold on. Are you trying to get extra points for class? That's what it is. She's like, exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I've heard that all of you have said you've done at least more than one business, so how do you know when to kind of move on?
Ooh. You know
We all felt that.
That's that critical thinking.
I like from you.
All right. She got an A. She got an A. She gets an A. What did she have? But I know what break she needs.
And if you don't get it, come back and see the rest of it.
We will be talking to her, okay?
I would say if you have more losses than gains, you kind of look at where the business trajectory is going. It also kind of looks at where you're putting your interest. Like some of the other ones, I just wasn't putting the time, energy, and effort. I wasn't doing the ownership kind of things, the investment of time and all of that. And I wasn't being consistent. And so I lost it, and I didn't have that same passion. So I knew that it was time for me to move forward.
I started businesses for the wrong reason. When I started the house flipping thing, I really just wanted to make a lot of money, there's nothing wrong with that. But once I got into the business and learned the industry, I realized it wasn't where I wanted to be. And then the second business I started really seriously, because I dabbled in a few other things. I started for the wrong reason again. I was working at somewhere, I didn't love my job. I had the chance to get a promotion, and I just had my son, who's now 8, and I just didn't want to be there anymore. And so I decided to start a business instead. That was not a good enough reason to start a business. And so I was making it work, but it was just harder than I wanted it to be for that point in my life. And that's when I left and went to a tech at the small business center there, because I was making it work. I was building a business, but my heart wasn't in it. So, yeah.
All right, love that. Okay, we have another question.
Hello, how are you? My question is, what is the single most important source that you reached out to get the most help? Like, there's a lot going on in this area, and so many options, and I think sometimes we don't know, what's going to be the best use of our time, our resources, and so on. So maybe a single one that helped you, a single resource in the area that helped you.
We love to talk about resources.
Yeah. There are so many entrepreneurial support systems here. I think kind of like, at least for me, kind of like talking to a mental health professional, like a therapist. I want to talk to more than one before I know who the right person is for me to work with. So, I mean, I'm going to give a shout out to the Small Business Center, which is an
thing and be like.
Like, me.
An amazing resource. Jonathan and his team really know what they're doing. And the good thing about Small Business Center is that they're plugged into a lot of other community connections, so they can say, hey, I see you need X, Y, or Z for your business. Maybe you need funding. Let me introduce you to some lenders or help you get prepared for fundraising. So they can really are the connector and the conduit in this community.
And the Small Business Center Network is celebrating 40 years of existence this year. So, yeah, that's something. Okay. Anybody else? Where are your resources at?
So I would echo what Chair said, is that I would start with all the things that your tax paying dollars are already paying for. And then again, because they do know others, if it's something that is out of their wheelhouse, they're really good. So small business centers are on all of your community colleges across North Carolina, all of your libraries. So we've got a library in here, which has a great wealth of resources and information. There are women's business centers across, and that are across North Carolina and have connections all over. They'll come to you. You have your small business technology development centers on all of your university campuses throughout. You have your SCORE, which is Service Corps Retired Executives, but I think it's a SCORE, chapters throughout. And you have all of your chambers of commerces. You have here